do the show, What is a Little Girl Supposed to Do? The show is about survival, perseverance, and redemption. My name is Belinda Olive-Beltran, and I'm the author of the What is a Little Girl Supposed to Do? At the age of 5 years old, I was molested by my own father. I was threatened not to tell anyone. And at the age of 7, I was almost kidnapped on my way home from school by a Caucasian man. A good neighbor, an angel, intervened. She opened her front door and she started yelling. She called him all kinds of names. And he looked over his shoulder and he sped away as fast as he could go. I was young and probably 8 or 9 years old. My mother and my father, they separated. And my father was angry. He almost killed my mother and my sister. He shot through the big picture window with a sawed-off shotgun, blasting holes in the walls, while my mother and my sister sat on the couch in front of the picture window. He just missed them by inches. I ran and I hid in the closet. I was so scared. And I was so scared.
So when you were 5 years old, was when you were first molested?
Yes. It was my own dad.
Wait a minute. You was molested, Mom, by your own dad?
My own biological dad, my own flesh and blood, yes.
Did you say anything?
No, I didn't say anything because he threatened me and told me if I said anything that he was going to hurt me. So being 5 years old, I mean, what is a little girl supposed to do?
So you didn't say anything, and then you kept it to yourself?
I kept it to myself until I was 18 years old. Yes.
And then I heard you say too that you was also molested by your stepfather.
No, not yet. But I was, yes.
Okay.
But I'm reading from the book here.
Okay.
And so I just wanted to go with that just for right now.
Okay.
And I said, life went on and I was very shy. I kept things to myself and I prayed to God often to give me strength. And at the age of 10 years old, I was molested by my stepfather. I kept it to myself and God. Then I was molested by my uncle at the age of 10 or 11. And I never knew I would not be safe in my own home as a child. Life went on, never mentioned it to my mom. What is a little girl supposed to do? What do you think a little girl was supposed to do?
What do I think what a little girl's supposed to do?
Yes.
Well, I've been a little girl before, and I've been molested, and I did not say anything until I became an adult.
Yes. And that's very, very trying on a young person.
To not say anything.
Yes. And it's very sad.
Remember feeling guilty? Or do you remember do you remember what you felt after that happened when it came to you not saying anything?
I was scared.
To anybody?
Yeah, I was scared. I became very nervous as a young child. I came down with eczema, very condition. I was shy. I really didn't trust people at a very young age.
Yeah.
Yes. And so at the age of 15, I was almost kidnapped again by a Caucasian man. I was walking on Alberta Street from Jefferson High School. I had planned to go to the movies that's located on 30th in Alberta. But I realized this man was following me. And I was walking on 12th in Alberta, the man stopped his car and said, "Do you want to ride?" And I said, "No." And he drove off. A few blocks later, he stopped his car again. This time, he was a little bit aggressive. And he said, "Do you want to ride?" And I said, "No." He drove off again. He drove to 20th in Alberta, and he stopped his car, blocking my path, and I was unable to cross the street. He got out of the car, and he grabbed me. Or he tried to grab me. Luckily, two men were working inside a carpet store. I started banging on the window, and I started yelling for help. And they heard my screams, and they saw me and the fear that was on my face, and they rescued me. The man was inches away from me, and he tried to grab me, but he ran and jumped in his car, and he sped off. That was terrifying.
And that was, okay, so then that happened when you were 15 years old?
I was 15. Yes.
Where was that? What area? What part of town was that in?
It was on, I was walking from Jefferson High School, and I was headed to the theater that was on 30th in Alberta. We would always go to that movie theater. So I walked from Jefferson all the way to 30th in Alberta, but I did not realize this man was following me until I got to 12th in Alberta.
Okay.
And when I refused, saying that I didn't want to ride, he kept circling the corner waiting for the traffic to die down so he would have an opportunity to grab me.
So he was just still driving along in his car?
Yes, going around the corner and waiting for an opportunity to jump out and grab me. That's what he tried to do. Yes. So yeah, that was terrifying.
Man, luckily somebody. Okay,
Yes.
so then you said that you ran and then you was bamming on the window of a business.
Yes.
Yes. And they came.
Yeah, it was luckily two guys, and then my mind was like, they were Caucasian guys too, and my mind was like, man, I mean,
I hope they.
Yes, I hope they'll be good. So yeah, they drove me to the movie theater, and I didn't have to walk. But I was so thankful that they were there, because if they wasn't there, no telling where I would be now. Yes. So life goes on, and I'm carrying this fear in my heart, and I pray all the time. And I'm afraid to travel alone or to be alone. I graduated from John Adams High School at the age of 17. I thought I had met the love of my life, your dad. And we got married, and I had 2 children. You was my firstborn, and then your brother. But throughout this relationship, your dad, he became a monster. He would beat me for no reason. And I suffered so much abuse. He almost killed me twice. But in 1976, I decided I had enough. I was so happy I got away from him alive. I prayed to God to give me strength, to stay strong, and to continue to take care of my 2 children, you and your brother. But on May 1st, 1979, I was involved in a car accident. And it wasn't my fault. You guys were in the car. I was rear-ended. I hurt myself. And I wasn't able to work for a while. So life became tough. I was under a lot of stress. And, yes.
There was, okay, so there was that was a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you said about your stepdad molested you. Then you said your uncle molested you. And so that was one of grandma's brothers.
Yes.
Right? And then then, wow, Mom.
It's a lot. It's a lot for one person to contend with in a short period of time. Yes.
Right.
It's a lot to contend with. And so that is, those are things that have happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just so happy that God has protected me and us, and we're okay. Well, I started hemorrhaging, and the doctor said, we need to perform a DNC. And I said that was fine, but I did not want to be put to sleep. I did not want to be put under anesthesia. The doctor said they had to put me to sleep. And I said, no, I do not want to be put to sleep. And the doctor said, it sounds like you're angry. And I said, yes, I am angry because you're trying to act like you are God and you're not. This is my body and I have control over it and not you. And the doctor said, well, it sounds like you're angry. And I disagreed. Then I got pissed off and I left the hospital. Yes.
So when they was questioning you about if you were angry, did they ever ask you, in that counseling that you did they ever ask you how or when did the first things traumatic happen to you in life? I don't understand. During the time that you were talking to the counselor, did they ever ask you? Did the question ever get brought up? What happened to you when you was a child?
No. They didn't ask those questions. No.
Okay, so it was questions that was based on you being in that abusive relationship with my dad.
Yeah, that was part of it. Just a history of the things that happened from the age of 5 until, just imagine all the things that goes on. And I'm quite sure you and your brother remember a lot of the things that happened during that time. Because in 1979, you were 7 years old at that time. And I'm quite sure you probably remembered some of the stuff.
Oh yeah, well yes, at 7. Oh yeah, at 7 years old, we was living with different family members.
Yes.
And then we started into the foster care system.
Yes.
I even remember us living in that. I think it was Waverly Children's Shelter.
Yeah, trying to get away from the abuse from your dad.
Okay,
yes,
I remember that.
And so, yeah, but everything, worked out. God was with us. But then I wanted to continue reading on where approximately 1 week later, after I left the hospital, I had an encounter with the police at the hospital. Because the police said the judge ordered me to go to the hospital, the mental hospital, because I was an endangerment to myself and others. And there was 4 or 5 police officers outside the hospital there. And they grabbed me out of the car, and I only weighed about 120 pounds. They grabbed my feet first, and they started choking me around the neck. And I was carried into the hospital, and I started yelling. I tried to yell, but I couldn't yell because they were choking me. And they strapped me down, and the doctor injected me with some drugs and locked me up inside the mental ward at Holiday Park Hospital. When I awakened the next day, the doctor came to me, to my room, and said, "You are strong as a horse. You should have been asleep for a very long time because of the medicine that we put you on." You remember that incident?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And okay, so was that the hospital that was over there? Isn't there a Burgerville?
Yeah, that's the Holiday Park Hospital. It's still there.
It's still there?
Yeah, it's still there.
Holiday Park Hospital.
Yeah, I don't know if they have the mental ward in there, but yes.
I remember that hospital. And I actually remember when the doctors and the, it was the doctors and police officers, they had grabbed you up and they was trying to put you in handcuffs, and the doctors was talking about how, because I remember me and Muhammad was screaming and trying to fight the doctors and trying to fight our family, because they was saying that was better if you went there, and if you went to the hospital. You were going to the hospital to get better, to get better. I remember that. But then I didn't understand, how did they say that you were going to the hospital to get better when my mom is crying and my mom is screaming and her children. That doesn't seem like this is.
Yes.
I remember that day.
Yes, that was horrible. That was a horrible experience. And the doctor continued to prescribe medicine for me, and they wanted to make sure I was taking this medicine. They would do blood and urine tests on me just to make sure. But it came to a point I did not want to take this medicine, so they started giving me injections. I was in and out of the mental hospitals for 10 years. This was a very terrifying experience. The doctors diagnosed me as a paranoid schizophrenic. I knew I should not be among these people that was in this hospital. I was at Western State Hospital, that's up there toward Tacoma. I was there for 9 months, and I prayed constantly to put on my whole armor of God. And I remember you guys came to visit me one time, or tried to visit me. Do you remember? Can you recall what happened?
I remember going. It was, I think it was Western State Hospital.
Yes.
We drove up there, and there was like a little glass. There was a little glass. I mean, I've been to jail before, so I know the door. There's a little glass door, and I seen these people, all different people, different types of people walking around, and I remember seeing you. And then, we was excited that day because we was going to see our mom, and they said that we couldn't visit you that day. And I didn't understand why we couldn't go visit you when I could see you and I could see you walking around.
Because I think you guys were too young, and it would have been dangerous because there was a lot of...
Well, that's what they were saying. They told Grandma that if she wanted to go and to visit, the ward that you were on, it was supposed to be, quote unquote, supposed to be like maximum. And Grandma was supposed to, if she chose to go to visit, she was going at her own risk.
Yeah, it was risky.
That's what they said. You're going to go in at your own risk.
Yes, it was risky. But yeah.
But Grandma was willing to do it. We was all willing to do it. But then we had Aunt Sarah there too. And then Sarah was saying that she didn't think that would be safe. She said, "Do you see all the people in there? How they acting? I don't think that's safe for you to go in there with the kids."
Yes. It was a dangerous place. So one afternoon, I was sitting at the day table. We was playing cards. I was with 3 other patients that was there. And there was a Caucasian man that was under surveillance for 24/7. He slept in the day room for approximately 3 months. The man was chained to the bed, his hands, waist, and feet. But for some reason, that day, the staff decided to unchain him. This man did not like black people. He killed 3 black people because they were looking at him. I felt I would be next once he was unchained. And we continued to play cards in the day room. My back was turned to him, but the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, "Belinda, get up right now because you're in danger." And I listened and I ran and I screamed. And as soon as I turned around, I noticed the man, he had picked up a steel chair and he was getting ready to hit me over my head and neck with this chair. And I screamed. The staff ran and subdued him. The staff chained this man to the chair and moved him to another floor. And I never saw him again. I was so nervous. I thank God for protecting me and warning me of the danger. I praise God for saving my life. After 9 months, I was discharged and I witnessed so crazy things happening in the mental ward. That was a really, really tough time. in the life.
And that was at Western State.
It was at Western State Hospital. It was a big hospital.
I think it's still...
They're still there.
It's still there.
Yeah, they're still there.
And you remember...
I remember
being there.
Yes, and I remember while I was in the hospital, this was horrible. I had to go to the dentist. Okay,
mm-hmm.
I wasn't no criminal, but I had to go to the dentist. But I remember they had me shackled down like they do the prisoners. They chained them. They got their hands chained. They got their feet chained. That's how I had to go to the dentist, in the chains.
They chained you up?
Yes. They chained me up. They chained me down. I remember that when I was there. Yeah.
So during this time, are you feeling like, are you a you're there supposedly to get better, mm-hmm. but now you're shackled and then you're living amongst all these other different type of people.
Yeah.
How long were you there, Mom?
9 months. 9 months, almost a year. It was a long time. Yeah. So,
Man,
yeah.
9 months?
Yeah, that was a challenge. Yeah.
And for the most part, they had you had handcuffs? Or you were shackled?
No, when you were inside the place, you didn't. But since I had to go to the dentist,
okay,
they had to shackle me, chain me down like I was in part of a prison thing. But yeah, that was that. When I would go to the psychiatrist for my weekly follow-up, the psychiatrist would ask me a few questions. She wanted to know, what did I do during the week? Did I have enough medication? Do I need another prescription? But her last question would be, did you hear any voices? I wanted to say, hell yeah, I heard voices. But I knew that if I would have said that I was hearing voices, they was going to give me some more medication to make me sleep. So I suffered daily on the medicine. I could not sleep sometime for weeks. I experienced anger, confusion, unable to talk or understand my thoughts. I would hear voices all the time. And the voices were very satanic. They were instructing me to hurt people, children, and myself. The satanic voices would be so overwhelming all day long. They would become so loud and aggressive, and there was nothing I could do to quiet them down. I prayed to God to help me, to remove Satan from trying to continue to control me. And it was a battle. And I would try to go to sleep, but I would have nightmares. Sometimes the voices would instruct me to kill myself. The voice would tell me to go to the pawn shop, buy myself a gun, go into the bathroom and shoot myself in the head, and it'll be all over. It's that easy. The voices and instructions was so real. And I said, no, I could not do that. What would my family think about me? How would my children live without me? What would God say about me killing myself? Thou shalt not kill. I would cry out to God. He said, everything is going to be all right, Belinda. God said, you can't run. You can't hide. This is between you and I. And that was horrible. That was horrible. You know, and I know you have experienced some things with those voices. Those voices ain't no joke.
Ooh. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Mom, those voices.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
You remember?
I remember.
And remember how they sound?
I remember.
Doesn't it sound like that voice is louder than your subconscious?
Yes. It screams at you.
Yes.
Yes. The voice.
And it makes sense.
Yeah.
When it's okay, so I don't know. I can't say when they. I know, but the voices I've heard when I was taking the medicine,
yes,
it was one. It was one domineering voice. But it sounded like when he would give you instructions
Mm-hmm.
on why don't you just go ahead and just get the hammer and hit him over the head. It'd be totally fine.
Yes.
It makes sense. The voice.
Yes.
How was they? You know what I mean? The voices for you. You remember them?
I remember them. I hated to get up out of the bed. I hated to get up out of the bed. I wanted to stay in bed because I did not want to have to be up and around and amongst people with these voices, because they were instructing me to just hurt people, and that wasn't me. That wasn't me.
It was instructing you.
Yeah, it was instructing me to hurt people.
Like, give me, like, what?
Well, one time when I was in the store, I was doing some grocery shopping, and I seen this little old lady. She was in front of me, and the voice said, "You should just kick her in the butt." And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not going to do this. So the voices were, very overwhelming. So God helped. He helped me. And he said, "You is going to be all right, Belinda." And so I promised God, if you heal my mind, I will do everything that's right. I will continue to treat others the way I want to be treated. I am talking about agape love. I was blessed to meet a doctor in Vancouver, Washington in 1988. And that doctor said, "Belinda, you do not have a mental illness." He said, "You were just going through a very stressful time in your life, and we're going to try to get you off this medication. But you have to go back to the doctor that prescribed this medicine for you that was over in Portland." And so I went to the doctor. The doctor was not happy with the doctor that I had over here in Vancouver. She said that I need to be on this medicine for the rest of my life because I would not be able to function. But my doctor in Vancouver had faith and trust in me. And so I was weaned off the medicine. It took a while since I had been on it for a very long time, but I was weaned off the medication in 1989. And so I was so thankful that the doctor here in Vancouver, Washington, believed in me, and he knew that I was not a paranoid schizophrenic. And I'm just so happy that my life got back on track, and everything was good. And so I thank God for helping me survive this madness. And we have to fight for our life. We have to believe in ourselves. And we have to have faith. And we have to keep the hope. We pray to God and truly, truly mean it. And the reason why I wanted to share this book, my testimony, the test, is because I decided to share this regarding mental illness because I know there's always been a stigma if you're diagnosed crazy. I truly believe mental illness comes from when you have been wronged by someone in your life. You try to keep the information to yourself and you try to deal with it all alone. We will try to sweep it under the rug, but you don't want and you do not want to talk about it. But sometimes mental illness is caused by our environment, our circumstances that you do not have any control over. Once you read or you hear this testimony, my experience about mental trauma that started at the age of 5 years old, you will understand why I suffered from mental illness at a very young age, in my 20s. I hope my test and my testimony will encourage you to look inside yourself and find the God in you. Forgive the trespassers. Fight for your life. Do not let Satan deceive you and rob you of your future. Strive for goodness. Strive for God. Promise, pray the prayer. Our Father in heaven, hallowed will be his name. Thy kingdom come, that will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil, for God's kingdom is at hand. We will help usher in God's kingdom to come on earth as it is in heaven. All of God's people need to stand up for what would Jesus do and what would you do? We're the only ones that can make that change. Us humans that's on this planet, we're the only ones that can make that change.
What change?
Change of mind, change of thoughts. I'm not talking about change quarters, nickel, dimes, pennies. I'm talking about changing your mind and your heart and your thoughts and loving more. We're the only ones that can do that. The human beings.
The human beings.
Yes.
Even though there was all of these things that have happened in your life, and all of the things that's happened in my life, you're saying that we should basically still we should still supposed to love each other, treat each other. What would be the correct thing? Treat each other fairly, treat each other
the way you want to be treated, in a good way.
In a good way.
Yes. Yes.
Because that was a lot.
Yeah.
That you went through, Mom.
It was a lot. It was a lot. But you see, I'm an overcomer.
Well, yeah, you are most definitely an overcomer, because you have 2 children, me and my brother, and I have 2 children, and I now have 2 grandchildren. So they say that it is not too far from the olive branch. It's not too far from the tree. That your seed that you have planted, most definitely. I don't know if you knew that it happened, but I was always known to be not the class clown, but I was just the social person. Like I talked to everybody, and nobody knew that I came from these experiences. And when people meet you, they always say, "Oh my gosh, your mom, she's so nice. Oh my gosh, your mom is so nice. She's so cool. And her food is so good." They always say that. Always. And then you notice sometimes when we're together, when we open up and have conversations with some of my friends that's been around and they've met you, and you open up and we tell them the story, they're all like in shock.
Yeah, they're in awe. Yeah, they're in awe, because who would have known that this person has gone through all these things and they're still smiling, loving, and
right.
No anger, right. Just pure love.
Pure love.
Yes, I'm done with the book.
Well, me and my mother, we decided to, I know that I had been doing a lot of journaling, maybe like 10 years ago. And I've learned that with my journaling, that you can express your feelings on paper. And so I had been journaling, and I wanted to turn my life actually into a screenplay. I wanted to turn it into a play. And during that time, during me talking about my story, meeting up with my ghostwriter, I came into this part of my story. I introduced my ghostwriter to my beautiful mother, and she introduced my ghostwriter to her book. And from that, he loved it, and we went on from there.
And we wanted to share this story because...
Oh my gosh, most definitely. We want to share the story because of the fact that we are going to be talking about mental illness. We're going to be talking about domestic violence. We're going to be talking about child abuse. We're going to be talking about foster care. Children that have been placed in foster care with, I would say, no fault of my mom's. Because you didn't have no control over them saying yes or no.
No.
And so during the time that you was 10 years in and out of, doing with the different medications, in and out of the mental hospitals, me and Muhammad was in and out of different family members' houses or in foster care. But this is a story, most definitely. These are topics that I would like us to talk about, because I do feel that there are folks that are out there that are experiencing with suicide, that are experiencing with mental illness, that are experiencing with
drug addiction.
Absolutely.
Alcoholism.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times people, when they're going through some type of mental problem, they try to find an escape through drugs, alcohol, just, things that's not going to help benefit them.
Right.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay. All right. Yes. I am so happy to be here today to spread the message of love and spread the message of we can be better people. When we go through things, we have a story to tell, but we do not need to be trapped into the negativity. Either we can move closer to positivity and God, our supreme being, or we can get down in the dumps to the curb and just not really be able to be the best person that you can be. But if we use our experiences that we've experienced in this life, if we use it as a positive thing instead of a negative, try to learn from it so we do not do it again. But I understand we're human beings. No one is perfect. We're striving to do our best out here. So my desire is to help inspire, to teach, and to share the story of life challenges. Everyone, no one was born without things that was not going to go right. God didn't say it was going to be easy, but these are learning experience for us to learn and to grow and to be the best people that we can be. So I look forward to speaking with everyone again, sharing our message of love and how to become an overcomer, because you just have to keep the faith and believe in yourself and be the best person that you can be on a daily basis. God bless you all.
God bless you. Thank you for tuning in to our podcast, What is a Little Girl Supposed to Do? Until next time.